These three Malaysia stocks are to regain the bullish momentum and set to rally up soon. So let's get started now to see how we can get in with low risk entry. So the first stock is MMSV, MMS Ventures. So let me just zoom out to take a look at the long-term picture. So we can see that last year COVID sell-off barely acted as a deep spring with a very quick recovery up, and we can treat this as a accumulation structure and followed by a very speculative run up. So that's near the end of last year. So you can see that right after this speculative run up, the price eventually just sort of going into the downtrend. And bear in mind that there is not much volume just before the run up, and this stock is considered as quite a illiquid volume. When there is an inactive session, then usually what you will see is this kind of the illiquid session. So it's ranging from probably a few hundred K, eventually just less than 1 million volume. So this is considered as a very low liquidity. However, during the active session, like when there's someone actively participate and marking up, then certainly there's a ton of the liquidity and active volume. So there's no need to worry about the liquidity during this active season. Do bear in mind that whenever you get inactive, something like this period of time, so look at the volume. So it's just very thin volume. But anyway, let's focus on the recent price action. So right after the speculative run up, we definitely see it's just going down and eventually settle into this trading range. So look at how the supply has been decreasing until that it pretty much exhausted right here. So you can see it just fluctuating up and down until that there is some participation coming back. So there's an active volume right there is the first sign, and subsequently forming this sort of a rounding bottom structure. And look at this. So that's the first time we attempt to break out, which attract some supply, and eventually it did not have any downside follow through. Instead, it just formed a higher low right there with the decreasing of the supply. And just last Thursday, we have witnessed a breakout with a ton of the active volume right there. And subsequently, the Friday acted as a test. So we did see some buying happen, almost tested the access line where the resistance now become the support level. And at the moment, is still attempt to break out of the previous swing high level. So right now, I think is pretty much in a good structure to initiate some kind of the markup. So the first target that I'm looking at is definitely the previous swing high level, or maybe this access line somewhere around 125, and followed by maybe somewhere around 1.4. So that's the region that I'm looking at for the immediate target. And for the entry, I think that in terms of a safe entry, it's better to go into the hourly time frame. Then you probably can get in with a very good price and offer great reward to risk ratio. So at the moment, pretty much that the markup is right here and followed by this pullback. So we see that supply has been decreasing, and there is probably an attempt to break above. So you probably can treat this type of the breakout. So a break above and to attempt of the previous swing high level. If you can just break above again, then I think it should just on its way up to test a higher target. So in terms of the stop loss, I think a very tight stop loss could be somewhere around 96, or for a very conservative type stop loss would be around 91. So that will be the stop loss that I'm looking at. All right, so that's MMSV. I think is generally bullish and it's a great structure. So if you enjoy my video so far, I would appreciate if you can just like this YouTube video and also subscribe to my YouTube channel, because that would mean a lot to me. Thanks for watching, and let's get back to the chart. So the next stock is HEXTAR. So HEXTAR has been on a very nice uptrend. So you can see that the uptrend actually started right here. So that's the uptrend started last year, May, and subsequently you can see that there's a ton of the active volume right there, and the speculative markup happened this year. So pretty much that it just broke out from this apex formation. So this is the apex formation I was talking about. And right after the breakout, we see a very speculative run up, and at the moment it's just having a very healthy pullback. So let's just focus on the recent price action. And in terms of the volume, we see that within this apex formation, there is certainly decreasing of the participation from both sides, both decreasing sellers and buyers. And subsequently, where the aggressive buyers come in, as reflected in the volume right here, we see that there's a push up and a very speculative run up. So right now, the price is pretty much just testing this spike candle right here. So this is the serrating candle where there's a ton of the volume right there. So if it can just sort of find a support right there, I think there is a high chance for it to reverse from here. So my plan is to probably aim for a commitment above 125, and if we can just come in above, then certainly there's a high chance to test the previous swing high level, and hopefully it can just break out and trend higher. So in terms of the supply level, you can see that right after this speculative run up, look at this supply. So it's sort of just exhausted, and as reflected in the volume. And also look at this or this candle. Apart from this localized breakdown candle, the rest are pretty small spread type candle. So that's generally an encouraging sign for the bull. So definitely, I think it at the moment it offers quite a nice reward to risk ratio based on this type of the breakout trade. Otherwise, I wouldn't be buying right at this price because the pullback is still unfolding. I just need to wait for some form of the confirmation. So if I enter it right there, I think the stop could be easily at somewhere below this big candle. All right. So that's HEXTAR. I think is very bullish. The last stock is AME. Okay, so before I get started with AME, there's one thing that I would like you to take note. So based on the texture, you can look at there's quite a lot of the upper shadow and the shadow from under as well. So this is just pretty much a reflection of a lack of the liquidity, and you can just double confirm it by checking with the volume. Just look at the volume right here. So it's below 500k, below 1 million, and even at a peak somewhere around here is pretty much just slightly more than 1 to 2 million. So this is a very illiquid stock. Just want to remind you that if you just want to buy a very small position, I think that's fine. But if you are some form of the big guy, big hands, and just buy quite a lot, then watch out for the overall transaction volume. So let's take a look at the last Friday session, less than 130k, so 130 lots. So if you buy like 50 lot or 20 lot, then that could really move the market, move the stocks. So just watch out your position if you really want to participate with this sort of the illiquid stock. But back to the stock, in terms of the structure, I think it's very healthy and very bullish. So I definitely see a uptrend right here, and followed by a consolidation. We are a trading range. And in terms of the volume, you can see that in general is very healthy, and we definitely see sort of the price settle down itself, and eventually just have the speculative run up with an increasing of the volume. And right now it's sort of setting itself within this sort of like a descending triangle. So you can see that just on Thursday it attempt to break out, but have some sort of the supply emerge. Look at the volume as well. So despite of the volume increasing of the supply, and we do see some rejection on this candle, but subsequently there is definitely no follow through. And right after this candle there is another test with generally lower volume, so volume has been decreasing, suggesting the supply has been decreasing. So at the moment I'm just betting on the bull side, so it's probably can just tend to trend higher to at least test the swing high level, and hopefully it can just break out and to reach the all-time high level. So at the moment I think it probably offers some great reward to risk ratio, while your stock could be somewhere around the swing low level, and your target will be beyond this swing high. So that's my view on AME. So I think it's very bullish. All right, so if you enjoyed this video so far, I appreciate you can just give me a thumbs up. And if you'd like to check out other trading opportunities, then definitely check out on the video shout out right now. And do remember to join my email list, and you'll get the every Sunday weekly update for free. And you can just join my Telegram group to interact with me and get more ad hoc updates. All right, thanks for watching. I will see you soon.